rejuvenate, come together with other families and parents and support each other, as well as the staff and volunteers. And I never thought that I would find another place like that until in January when I walked into the doors of the Pappus house. And I still go back to North Carolina a couple times a year. I plan to retire there and volunteer at the Ronald McDonald House. That's how much it meant to me. And I never thought I'd have that connection with a facility again. And I have to say, in January, when my neighbor Susan had to leave the hospital, she had been diagnosed the day after Christmas with stage 4 ovarian cancer, had gone in emergently. And when she was in the hospital, and we realized hospice was going to be the avenue to end of life, I remembered that I'd been following Pappus House on Facebook because I had a therapy dog that pre-COVID, we were going to nursing homes, and I kept thinking, once I have more time, I want to connect with them because I think that would be a good match for us. He retired, so I didn't get to do that, but I continued to follow Pappus House, and when we moved to the SPCA facility, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm an animal lover. Susan was an animal lover. So when we had to make that decision of where she was going to go, because her home wasn't in a condition that she could go back to with 24-hour care, and we needed to either have time to get the home in condition to bring her home with hospice, or have her stay somewhere until end of life, I thought of the Pappus House as well as a recommendation from a social worker with her attorney and started to discuss it, and within 3 days, I think it was, she was at the Pappus House. But it wasn't an easy sell because Susan was a homebody. Susan was a recluse her last 5 to 10 years of life. We have a very strong neighborhood relationship, a great block to live on in Old East York. And we all wanted to support her, but she wouldn't always let people. She had a very small circle of support. And we weren't sure, especially me, how a skilled nursing facility would go for her because she liked her privacy, but she also wanted to engage at times with those she loved. So when we called Pappus House and there was a bed available, I went to her and I said, Susan, a couple things. We're talking about a skilled nursing facility and we're talking about Pappus House, but I have to tell you, there's a dog there right now named Riley who looks a lot like your dog Billy. And she really wanted to go home to be with her dogs. They were her life. And I said, and there's a cat named Aslan. And I said, and the Pappus House is at the former SPCA building. So basically, we're going to send you to a really nice kennel. And she was like, really? And I said, it's perfect for you, and I can bring your dogs to visit. And that was the selling point and made that transition from the hospital to Pappus House so much easier. And from the time I walked in the doors, waiting for her to come from the hospital, I walked in, sat down with Riley, and I know Riley's family is here, the dog. He comforted me as much as maybe I comforted him because he had just come that week. And it was a special time knowing that there were going to be animals there to bring comfort to her. Move forward, and I can't say enough about the staff, the volunteers, and the other families who provided support to me, to my neighbors who came to visit as well, to my sister who were regular visitors with Susan. We really bonded in the same way that I saw families bond at the Ronald McDonald House. I was on the opposite side of a relationship with a facility like the Ronald McDonald House or the Pappus House. And I can't tell you how much it meant to me for their guidance, for their support, their advocacy when we needed to make some changes. It was unreal, honestly. It was just so, it just felt like you had a warm hug. And in end of life, you get to have a say. When you eat, if you eat, what you eat. So Susan got to eat all of her favorite foods over and over again. Her hard-boiled eggs that they prepared for her for breakfast. Her introduction to toasted cheese and tomato soup, which at 81 she had never had. We were counting, I can't believe that. And that was special to me because my mom at end of life from ovarian cancer, the one thing she couldn't eat and she wanted to was toasted cheese and tomato soup. And I think Susan ate that pretty much nightly. So it was just amazing. We were able to go in and take cheesecakes and have a pie party. The barbershop quartet she loved. but most importantly, the relationships as a recluse in her home that she built with the staff, and that they got to see her sense of humor and bring that out in her, and then on the right medications, she blossomed. Her last month and a half of life, I truly believe, was the best month and a half she had in the last 10 years. And that's thanks to the support and relationship she built at the Pappus house. So I can't encourage everyone enough that not just today in what you're doing by being here and supporting the live auction, but continue to support their mission. Susan was able to self-pay. She was fortunate enough to have saved, but so many people aren't. And that's how we were at the Ronald McDonald House. We took everyone. It didn't matter if you could pay or not. And that's so meaningful to families who don't have other options. So I encourage you, please continue, not just today and moving forward, to encourage organizations like the Pappus House, because they truly, it is a home away from home for end-of-life care. And the love and support that you feel when you're in there and a part of it is just immeasurable. It's priceless. So thank you all. I appreciate the time and to be able to thank everyone at the Pappus House for what they did for Susan and our neighbors and family who supported her. And I can't thank everyone here enough for what you're doing to support the house. Thank you.